Before you start, make sure to disconnect power to the AC unit to reduce the risk of serious electric shock. The first step to replace the indoor evaporator fan motor assembly is to remove the 9 screws located around the perimeter of the shroud. This will allow you to lift off the shroud and expose the internal components. With the shroud removed, you will see a large molded foam enclosure at the front of the unit. This enclosure houses the evaporator core and the blower fan. Begin at the rear of the upper cover, near the blower motor. Gently pull straight upward to separate the two halves. Continue working around the perimeter towards the front until the upper cover is completely free. Locate the fan and fan motor assembly positioned near the center of the unit. Cut the zip ties holding any wires to the motor bracket. Then remove 6 Phillips head screws holding the fan motor bracket down to the base plate. This will allow enough movement to be able to remove the fan blade assembly from the motor. Be careful as the wires will still be attached. Remove the 5/8" reverse threaded nut and washer. Then the fan blade assembly can be removed from the motor shaft. On the left side of the unit, you will see a small rectangular electrical box with a wiring diagram on it. Remove the access door from the electrical box located on the left side of the unit. This door is secured by 2 screws and features a wiring diagram sticker on it. Cut and remove all the zip ties securing the wires. Exercise extreme caution. Do not allow any of the spade terminals on top of the cylindrical capacitor to contact the box, tools, or your hands. The capacitor stores electrical energy and can discharge even when power to the AC unit is disconnected. This poses a serious risk of electrical shock. Inside the electrical box, locate the rectangular capacitor. It is positioned at the top rear corner of the electrical box. Identify the white and brown wires coming from the motor that are connected to this capacitor. Using insulated pliers, carefully disconnect these wires from the capacitor terminals. Gently pull the disconnected motor wires back through the grommet and out of the electrical box. Next, locate the green and yellow wire coming from the motor entering the electrical box. This wire is attached to a ground lug inside of the box. Remove the Phillips screw securing it, taking care to note any additional wires that are attached to the same screw so that they can be properly reinstalled later. Locate the remaining wire harness that extends towards the front of the unit. This harness runs downward into the lower section of the air conditioner and connects to the control module. Disconnect this harness by pressing the release tabs and pulling the connector straight out of the module. You will need to depin 3 wires from this connector: black, yellow, and red. To depin the connector, release the 2 locking tabs on each side of the connector by squeezing them inward and gently pulling the connector halves apart. Before disassembling the connector, it is important to note their exact positions in the connector, or take a clear reference photo to ensure the correct reinstallation. A small pick or flat blade screwdriver may be used to assist if the connector is difficult to separate. Once the outer housing is removed, carefully pull the selected wires backwards out of the plastic connector base. Once the 3 wires are depinned, pull them back through the braided sheathing until they are completely free. Remove 3 Phillips head screws holding the motor to the mounting bracket. The entire motor assembly should now be free to remove. Reinstall the replacement motor into the bracket in its original position, securing it with the same 3 screws. Ensure the motor is oriented at the same angle as the original. Route the black, yellow, and red wires with the pre-installed pins back through the sheathing. Insert the pins into the connector into their original positions. then snap the outer portion of the connector back into place to lock the pins in securely. Once assembled, reconnect the 6-pin connector to the control module. Push it in until it clicks. Next, route the wiring harness containing the white and brown wires back into the electrical box. Reconnect those wires to the capacitor in their original positions. Also route the green and yellow wire into the electrical box and secure it to the ground block using the previously removed Phillips screw. Secure the wires with a zip tie. Replace the cover onto the electrical box and fasten it with 2 Phillips head screws previously removed. Next, reinstall the fan blade assembly onto the motor shaft using the original washer and nut. It is important to note that this nut is reverse threaded. Then reinstall the fan bracket assembly to the base with the 6 Phillips head screws previously removed. Reattach any wires to the bracket with zip ties as they were originally. Make sure to give the fan a quick spin to make sure there's nothing obstructing its movement. Once properly positioned, align the upper cover and snap it back into place. Finally, reinstall the shroud by securing it with the 9 screws previously removed. After tightening all the screws, gently lift the shroud to confirm it is securely fastened with no movement.